Alright everyone, so welcome to our first lesson, a framework for driving business decisions with data analysis. So one pain I hear from people again and again is that when they try to get started with data analysis, and when it comes to data, all they can see are numbers. So just walls of endless figures. They literally feel that they're drowning in data, but don't know how to translate that data into insights. When I hear this, I always have to think of that black and green screen from The Matrix, right? So some guy is staring at the screen and is trying to translate those numbers into something more tangible. However, how it usually works in reality or in real life is that somebody's just staring at those figures, playing around with the data, wasting a lot of time without learning anything interesting from it. So the problem here is that there's a tendency for people to start with the data. And then they try to figure out all the cool analysis they can do with it. And then they try to figure out how that analysis actually can be applied. And that's almost always a guarantee for inefficiency or not coming to any conclusion at all. The much better approach is, and how it actually should be done, is always to define a business problem or question first. And from there to figure out what data is needed and what type of analysis is needed to answer those questions and challenges. And that's why you actually need a data analysis framework, which does exactly that, which starts with the problem definition and allows you to follow a path that leads to actionable insights into business outcomes. Otherwise, as just mentioned, if we start with the data, we'll just get lost in it. There are many different data analysis frameworks out there, which are all quite similar with some minor differences. I'm using this one as I like frameworks to be as simple as possible, as that's usually the way to go to actually use it. It's a simplified adaptation of a Mckinsey framework, so Mckinsey, the consultancy. So if it looks familiar to you, that's where it's coming from. It has 4 steps. First, defining the business problem or question. Second, sourcing the data and preparing it. Third, analysis and insights generation. And last, making it actionable and having clear implications. So, the first step, defining the business challenge. This is all about making it smart. So specific, not general, measurable, action-oriented, relevant to the key problem, and time-bound. Second step then is to identify and source the data. So to identify the correct data you need to solve the business question, identify the correct sources to get the data from, and preparing the data in the sense of cleaning the data, formatting the data, and so on. Third step is then what people usually refer to when they talk about data analysis. So it's analyzing the data and generating insights, and you do that through applying your calculations, your models, your techniques to translate that data into insights. The last step then, and unfortunately that's one that's often neglected, is to have a clear path on how to make the insights actionable. So either if you're the decision maker yourself, have some clear to-dos or a strategy based on your insights, or if somebody else is the decision maker, communicate the business recommendations and have a clear roadmap for them on how to implement those recommendations. And preferably, if you can, also include some potential impact here. As I just said, unfortunately, a lot of data analysis stops with the insights. However, only the actual recommendation, and if possible the expected impact from it, will actually make the analysis valuable and ultimately actionable.